Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Well, hello. Here is Jay. And so there. Anyway, we were having a little bit of Skype-ness, but I think we're okay now, so I'm moving some stuff around. And anyway, welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio. And this is Jay Kaplan, and where we best contemplate retirement and how to best stay retired. So let's all just be thankful that we have friends in this time and keep talking to them. I'm using video like Zoom, Hangouts, and Skype more than ever. And I think we should all try to really see each other's faces since we cannot really get there in person. And my wife and I, we were part of a Passover celebration last evening. And why not keep doing that when we can't easily drive to a family or a friend's celebrations? Why haven't we been doing that for the past several years? So let's keep doing that, not as a substitute to see people or a reason not to drive over there, but there's a lot of times you just can't, and therefore we need to find a different way to keep things going. So keep calling everybody that you know. Keep letting them see you if you can, and keep us all from going nuts. So let's keep doing the same. And please call, email, or visit. I think you'll want to video visit for now. drheckham.com, drhecm.com, and theeducatedretirement.com. Or just give me an email at bestloantoday@gmail.com, at bestloantoday@gmail.com. So be sure to jump over to the YouTube channels link about halfway down the first page. There's a lot there, including all of the shows and separate segments of the guests, as well as some more entertaining short snippets, which I hope you enjoy and I hope are somewhat humorous. But please subscribe on the YouTube page while you're there, and there's so much other information there. And you can get all that information and all the different videos on the website with no obligation. You don't have to leave any of your information, but you can, and it's always private. We always respect your privacy. Remember, off-air phone number, 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233, where knowledge is power. And when it comes to the Heckham or any other reverse product, know the facts, compare the numbers. It's much too important an issue to ignore, and you don't really want to eliminate it based on not understanding it. Remember that equity availability programs, because that's what it is. It's equity liquidity. Like this, it's not a belief system. It's not a religion. It's just math. But the flexibility and security it gives is so much more than math. So call me, 866-955-2233, bestloantoday@gmail.com, or Dr. Heckham, drhecm.com, for the website. And why? Because you need to know more about the choices you really have and how to protect what you already have. I've got a team of experts, and you're going to hear another one today, that can and will help you. So please make use of them. Call me, and I can direct you to anyone that you hear on this show, and others too. Or look for them on that YouTube station, because all the contact information is always given on the videos. Therefore, one more time, 866-955-2233. My day job is at the Loan Source. Loan Source NMLS number is 834565, and Department of Real Estate is 792630. And you know, we believe in challenging the status quo, and we believe in people and families being more active rather than reactive. So, what is today for us lushes? It is Salvation Army Founders Day. And for some reason, I know Salvation Army may or may not like this, always seems to remind me of Guys and Dolls. And I think you know why. Frank Sinatra and Nathan Detroit and all of that good stuff. But the term, and I find this is pretty interesting, the term on the wagon, here's where it came from. It came from the Salvation Army because they had a hay wagon back in the days, and they would drive it around encouraging alcoholics to jump onto the wagon, and the wagon would drive them to a Salvation Army location to dry out with a lot of care. So since it's been raining here locally, it's time for me to go dry out. And I'll just take a couple minutes to do that. Don't go away. Be back soon and stay dry, stay safe, and healthy. Welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on your home planet, 1490 KMET AM radio. Whew, the mighty Met. Don't forget, www.theeducatedretirementradio.com. Don't forget my off-air number, 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. Ask for me or ask for anyone we have had on the show, or even if not, there's probably somebody we can refer to you just for some help. Never any obligation. So whose birthday might this be today? Martin Denny. And I should have told you, Sean, if you could find some Martin Denny for music thing, but I'm always late. At least I'm there. Anyway, Martin jumped on this pile in 1911 and rolled off in 2005. I've probably got 25 of his albums. Almost none of them are playable, so I'm still looking. But he was one of the more famous. Liberty Records wasn't that old, and when I think of Liberty Records, I think of Martin Denny and Julie London. So there. Anyway, Martin Denny is considered the father of lounge music. Now, I more think of that as easy listening, not lounge, but so be it. If that's the recognition he's been given by the world, he can have lounge music. But for me, I don't know, do you remember the Lounge Lizards with John Lurie? If not, remember he was in that Stranger Than Paradise, Jim Jarmusch film, and he was also, as an old guy like my age, looking so much different than he did in any of those films or on his early records as the Lounge Lizard. He was on, what was his name? Tony, the guy that committed suicide not that long ago, the chef. She'll remember. What's that? Anthony Bourdain. He was on one of the last Anthony Bourdain shows. And thank you, Sean. Sean's a lot younger than me, but he's got a memory left. Quiet Village, great. Let me get that. Quiet Village. I've got about 6 of these albums. None of them that sound that good. I'm still looking, but I couldn't find one. So I got too many records, so I printed a picture there of one of it for you. Oh, as long as we're doing music, there's some more stuff. These are conglomerates, so get the CCC, get these little things, and then I can transfer them onto, for the car and for whenever I'm in that kind of mood. And, well, as long as it's show and tell time, before we move on, let me show this. All the covers were kind of the same. All the music was kind of the same also, but most of it good. So Quiet Village was the first of the so-called nature sounds of the exotic music of Martin Denny, or that he is said to have created. So during a booking at a place called the Shell Bar on Oahu, it was an outdoor place, and they started playing, and so did the frogs. They started croaking, that is. Then the music stopped, so the frogs stopped. Same union. This continued the rest of the night and the rest of the time they played there, and the rest is, as they say, history. David Harbour was born in 1975. My wife just got a text from him, and she just texted back saying, happy birthday. David Harbour puts his phone number out for everybody. It's probably a different one, but anybody can do that. The star of Stranger Things. Since we're showing records, I've got a couple of these, one from season 1 and one from season 2. And, it's kind of, see if you can open that. I think there's some cool pictures inside. I don't know. But it's, Stranger Things is a series based on the very true, and I meant the gatefold thing. All right, that's all right. This will work. There you go. And, there's David right there. See him? Say hello. Okay. And we even have trading cards. I don't know if we have time for them, but we'll try to make. And if you want to trade for them, you got to call me. You know that number. Okay? Anyway, that series, Stranger Things, it's based on very, very true, I won't say a true story, but very true rumors about Montauk, New York. And it had to do with what happened in Montauk had to do with MK Ultra, among other top secret CIA thingies. It had to do with exploring and going to parallel universes, i.e. the Upside Down. A lot of remote viewing, time travel is said to have happened there. And mind control, so think Sirhan. And there was a thing called the Montauk chair. I just sat in the chair and sneezed. Also had to do with hundreds of missing children. Now, I really read this not too long ago, that the United States, and this of course includes runaways, but there are anywhere from 400 to 800,000 missing children every year in this country, but a lot of them went there. And they were kidnapped anyway, the working title for Stranger Things while it was being filmed for the first season was, in fact, Montauk. So Max von Sydow, 1929, and unfortunately just passed away in 2010. Swedish actor with more than 150 films, and just to name a few, he was the Exorcist in The Exorcist, 3 Days of the Condor, Dune, Minority Report, Shutter Island. Oh, of course. What is this? Oh, Linda Blair's Autograph, of course, as you can recognize. And, also, just to let you know that, you know what? I didn't write this to remember anything, but we're coming to that in the next one. Omar Sharif was also born on this day. Chuck Connors was born on this day. And Brian Setzer. And I just listened to his album Vroom this morning in his honor. But there were no emails or texts to him or back. But anyway, good stuff. And with that good stuff, we'll get you to some more good stuff with Sean and back to the station. And thanks, Sean, and hang with us. Well, if you listen to that advertisement, you can hear people do sell solutions. I give solutions, and solutions need to be what you need to be looking for. 866-955-2233. I just wanted to make sure it was still there because things move around in this universe. So, what happened on this day? 1953, House of Wax was premiered. What do I have? Oh, I don't have too much on House of Wax itself, but we do get to see it from time to time, especially Sven Gulli. Now, Sean, you ever watch Sven Gulli?
No, I don't think so.
Boy, and I always thought you were so educated and had so much class and culture. Channel 25 on Saturday nights, Sven Gulli.
What year was that, Jay?
Right now,
Really?
it's current. Yeah, tomorrow night. What's on Sven Gulli, Kathleen? Tomorrow night, do you know? Don't know. Anyway, he
From
he
This Island Earth.
oh, This Island Earth is, and that's a great film from that was one of the major. I think like the two major science fiction weird movies from the 50s was This Island Earth, and of course Forbidden Planet, which was very high budget, and Shakespeare's The Tempest in outer space. But in any way, the first 3D film was The House of Wax, which premiered on this day in 1953. It was the first 3D film from a major studio and in stereophonic sound. And it revitalized the career of Vincent Price, who was only doing supporting roles. Now, he had big supporting roles, I think, as you recall, in a lot of films. And Laura and a lot of, he was very important, but he was never, the top thing. But now he was in high demand for such things as The Tingler, and House on Haunted Hill, which were both William Castle films. Maybe he was in some others. Now, William Castle was immortalized, although he didn't need any immortalizing. He was immortalized in Joe Dante, and here's an autograph of Joe Dante, in this film, Matinee, which I still think is tremendously entertaining. And there was William Castle with a cigar. And I think Jesse White, if that's his name, played a short scene of William Castle himself. We had actually gone to a 3D festival at America Cinematheque. Who signed this? Oh, John Landis. Okay, speaking of John Landis. Oh, that was Joe Dante. This was John Landis. And we went there to see a bunch of 3D movies, America Cinematheque at the Egyptian Theater in L.A. Just to remind you, we also got for ourselves a whole bunch of 3D trailers with, that's right, glasses. Remember the two-tone glasses? Yep, I do. I'm that old. So, but in the Tingler, they put buzzers under some of the seats so that every now and then, just like they did in the movie Matinee, so they, every now and then a buzzer would go off and people would scream. House on Haunted Hill had a skeleton float out of the ceiling, but our man here, Vincent, he was also in Mask of the Red Death, The Abominable Dr. Phibes, and The Return of the Good Doctor. Now, those were a little gruesome for its time. I thought they were way out in front, but they were so well made. The Pit and the Pendulum and the other Roger Corman series of all the Edgar Allan Poe films. He was also an avid art collector. He wrote several cookbooks, and his grandfather actually invented baking powder. Now, the other thing that happened on this date, uh, which is, not a highlight, but a big deal, is the Titanic actually set sail on its maiden voyage on this day in 1912. So, with that, I'll give you one more minute. So, remember, in terms of its financial impact and implications, no market, investor, and consumer has been spared the effects of the COVID-19 coronavirus epidemic. However, there are still some opportunities that can be taken advantage of in the midst of this particular turbulent climate, according to financial columnist and author Eric Brotman in a new column at Forbes. One such opportunity would be a reverse mortgage. So we'll get more into that a bit later, but just to let you know what other people, such as people that write in Forbes, have to say. And with that, we're going to make room and time for our guest, who will be coming with us pretty soon. So let's let Sean take it away. And please, please stay with us, and thank you.
Empecé en pequeña rample de la Rampla de Barcelona. Me encontré una chiquita, pero la llevo ya a mi casa. Empecé en pequeña rample.
Our guest today is Don Currie. And Don, if you're there, go ahead and say hello.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And do we have a picture at all, too? No? Okay, well, you have a minute. Don't worry about it. We'll talk in the meantime. So go ahead and tell us who you are first, and even what you are, maybe. And we'll go from there.
Sure. Well, Jay, thanks again for having me on the show another time. I really enjoy listening to the show, and of course, you're a consummate expert in the reverse and the mortgage industry. My name is Don, the president of High Tech Lending. We are a mortgage bank located in Irvine, California. We do both good old-fashioned 30-year fixed rate loans, FHA, and reverse mortgages. I've been in this glorious mortgage business for 38 years. So yes, I'm right here local. We have about 40 branches throughout the country. Direct mortgage bank.
All right. That's but since we lost some time because we had some technical, aliens, they flew in and took away some time from us. I'm not going to jump in as much as I normally would. So go ahead. First thing I think people want to talk about is the real estate and mortgage market and how it's been affected by the coronavirus pandemic, and how will it affect the mortgage market in your opinion, and that kind of thing.
Sure. Well, most certainly it has had a very dramatic effect on both real estate and the mortgage market. So I did want to kind of touch base on really kind of a 10,000-foot level. Starting with real estate, because when I studied economics, the main thing that you learned was supply and demand. And right now, in the real estate market, demand is way down. People aren't going out to look at open houses. Nobody wants people in their homes. So obviously, you're not going to go out and put an offer on a house that you haven't seen the inside of. So we've seen a dramatic decrease in demand over just the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's pretty amazing. In San Diego, for example, just read today that it's off, what does it say? Sales pending, which means sales in escrow, is down almost 30% in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Now, it could take, somewhere in the course of a year to get to 10%. So the fact that we have 27% in 2 weeks is pretty dramatic. So if you don't have the demand, obviously the price of real estate is going to slip a little bit. But I must say, Jay, just to preface it all, in that This is all like Band-Aids that we're going to talk about today. What's happening with the real estate market? What's happening with the mortgage? What's a forbearance where people don't have to make their mortgage payments for a while? And of course, the payment protection plan that's out right now that almost every small business is applying for. But really, it's all a Band-Aid just to get us through the next couple of months. So when it comes to real estate, you're going to see a ripple effect from people not being able to buy houses right now going into the summertime. But once again, once the market comes back, once people get their jobs back, you're going to see that rebound relatively quickly.
Right. And people in the meantime are going to be seeing bargains. They're going to be kicking themselves because they may not be able to get a hold of those bargains right away. But I'm sure that demand is coming back and coming back probably stronger than ever, right?
Absolutely.
So now the forbearance thing is pretty good, but I don't know too much about it. I have a reverse mortgage, luckily, so I don't have a payment to have to get forbearance upon. But how's that working out, and are you guys a part of that also?
I am, because I do the standard 30-year fixed-rate mortgages. We service our own loans. And so actually the governor of California approached all of us mortgage bankers and said, are you going to participate in the forbearance plan? And what's a forbearance plan? Well, basically, all those people that are out of work right now, I mean, you got to think about the massive amount of people in our country.
I know.
That are in hospitality, hotels, restaurants. My friends own restaurants, and they literally had to release their entire staff. So all those people, even though interest rates are absolutely the lowest they've ever been, we were really on track this year to have an amazing year when it comes to people buying, refinancing, reverse mortgages. And I kind of liken it to driving a car down a gravel road and then just slamming on the brakes. And then all the gravel just falls around you and it just stops. And that's what's happened.
I know. I mean, I'm so old. Now, you were probably a kid. You may not even been born when rates were 18 and 19. And I thought that I'd never see them to go below 13 or so. But I never, ever thought my whole life that rates could get too low. And apparently they have.
Well, Jay, we had talked about this one other time. I actually got into the mortgage business in 1982 when Ronald Reagan was elected.
I know you'd said that, but you look like such a kid. How could that be?
That's all Grecian formula right there, Jay.
Oh, okay. Okay. I remember that, too.
Yeah, so, I mean, the interest rates were 14.75% back in the 80s when Ronald Reagan came in. He was also doing somewhat like Trump, flood the economy with money, get the interest rates down, get people back to work. That was really his philosophy, is work is more important. Jobs are more important than the deficit, which, of course, we're going to have to look at down the line because we're spending money like crazy right now. But the bottom line was we need people back to work. Interest rates are at the lowest they've been in my entire career, and yours too.
And me too.
But the problem that we're having right now is so many people aren't able to access these incredible rates because they're out of work right now. And so,
right.
So the reality is that if you don't have a job, even though you might have a job in a month from now, if you don't have a job right now, you can't get a loan. So, and for a lot of the people that we actually had in process that were going to the final closing stages, we make that call right before we close the loan these days and say, are you still at work? And if they're not, we don't cancel the loan. We just have to put it on hold. So a lot of people right now are being hobbled from being able to access these new interest rates in this time.
And the same things happened with me with a lot of, especially the refinance loans, which are usually a bit tighter. But, without getting technical on the reverse mortgages, the principal limit is based on, the age of the people, the value of the property, but on the principal limit, or in other terms, maybe you could look at it as the loan to value. And all of that changes as interest rates change. And even though the interest rates put out by the government seem to go down and down and down, those are not the rates that are absolutely connected to borrowing or mortgage or anything else. So I've had to put several loans on ice for now. Not cancel, like you say, because we want to keep everybody working and going forward and whatever for hopefully the not too distant future, we'll be in high gear again.
Yep. Jay, just to kind of get back to the whole forbearance thing, because this is a really big deal in our industry right now.
Right.
What it means is that if right now you're struggling with making your mortgage payments because you're currently out of work, and so many Americans do live hand to mouth, they don't have a lot of reserves, and so what the forbearance plan is me as the mortgage bank, I'm going to allow you to not make your mortgage payments for 90 days. Now, I'm not going to charge you any additional fees. I'm not going to have compound interest, and I'm not going to call the credit agencies, which is the big deal. So literally, you get a bit of a reprieve for a 90-day period of time, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and of course, if people didn't have that, and if your company and other lenders didn't have that too, believe me, you'd have a lot of other kinds of situations on your hands. So,
well, the other
this
situation
is the best thing to do.
In the form of a tsunami of foreclosures. Just think about, I think they mentioned that there was 13 million people who filed for unemployment in the last month or the last couple of weeks.
It keeps going.
And so just think if those people filed for unemployment and then filed for foreclosure. The government doesn't want a barrage of foreclosures where people's credit are getting damaged. I don't want to step in and foreclose on somebody's home because they were put out of work for a matter of a month or two.
No, so that's not your business anyway. Your business is to lend money. It's not to foreclose.
Right. And so I think that one of the great benefits of this, which I'm all for, by the way, even though we don't get our payments for a couple of months, we're just going to bundle those payments together, right? And we're going to lump it on top of what you currently owe. So it's not, because I was worried, well, after 90 days, now I'm going to have 3 months of payments that I got to make up for. It's not that way. You don't have to make your payments for 90 days. We bundle them together, put it on top of your principal balance, and you pay that off when you pay off the loan.
Right. So it adds time, correct? It adds 3 more months to the end of the loan, basically?
Correct. Correct.
So that shouldn't hurt anybody.
When the 3 years is up, you need to pay the entire thing off, is really what it comes to.
Yeah.
It's a great plan.
So is a reverse mortgage a good idea today, in your opinion?
I've been doing reverse mortgages for 12 years now, and I have to tell you, Jay, you and I both share the same affection for reverse mortgages because they're not only a lifesaver, but it really is a thing. It's an emotionally rewarding thing for us in the lending business. I have to tell you
absolutely.
that last month there was a huge spike in people accessing their line of credit in the reverse mortgage industry, more than we've ever seen before. So people are jumping in, and they have a checkbook that they can just write a check for whatever. I mean, let's say you're staying at home, you don't have the in-home care anymore, you need to do more things for yourself, or when the thing is all over, you want to take your grandkids out, or whatever it is, you can just write a check, and you don't have monthly payments on those checks. So their line of credit has really been a lifeline for a lot of people.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's still, can you imagine there's so many people out there that are worried about their payment. If they had a reverse, they'd be fine. There's nothing to worry about, right? And as we've talked about many times on the show, and there's, your life, you don't want to take money out of your retirement accounts when you're in a bad year, because your retirement account, that's your business. You're in business when you're retired, and that's your retirement is your business. And you need that business to be as steady and strong as possible. And we've talked about that before, but I don't want to get in your way here. So go ahead and let me know what you think about all that. And
well, I think that, one, there is a difference when we talk about a line of credit for a reverse mortgage and a line of credit that you get from Bank of America. The difference is pretty dramatic in that, one, you don't have to make monthly payments, or monthly payments are optional, right? Some people want to make monthly payments, and that's okay. But if for any reason you got into a tight spot like we're all in today, and you needed to just take hiatus for a couple of months, or Christmas time, or tax season, or whatever it is, it gives you the option to not make payments. So a lot of people, the stigma around reverses is, Well, if I'm not making payments, do I still own my home? How does this whole thing work? Let's make it very clear with reverse mortgages. I'm the lender. I'm going to lend you money. It is a loan. You're going to pay me interest. The only thing is you don't have to pay interest today in monthly payments. You can pay it when you leave your home.
Right. Or if you win the lottery or something and need a tax write-off, or did real well with investments, you can take it that year, or you can pay it only that year. So we're
right.
Good.
And one other point, Jay, on the line of credit. I don't know if you remember years ago. I guess it was right around that 2008 time when I had a line of credit on my home, and the bank called me up and just said, "We're going to cut your line of credit in half." And I was like, "Well, why are you doing that?" "Well, because property values have dropped, and now we feel that your line of credit could expose us." I says, "But I still have enough equity in my home to have my line of credit." They said, "Well, sorry, we're just arbitrarily going to cut your line of credit in half." You remember that, Jay?
Oh, yeah, I do. And, why have to put up with that when you don't have to put up with that?
Right. And so in the government program, you're guaranteed through the government endorsement that you will never, me as the lender, I can never jump in and take away your line of credit. I can never cut it in half. I can never demand that you make payments on it. And the most important thing, because these are, I call them loans for life, right? This is, you take out a reverse mortgage, it's to take you to the end of your life. And so one is the line of credit grows with time. So as time goes on, your line of credit gets a little bigger every year, which I think is fantastic. It goes with the cost of fund, the cost of living, and that sort of thing. So you can never...
it's not connected to the value of the home or anybody else's home.
Right. So they can't take it away. They can't cut it in half. Payments are optional, right? And in the end, it's going to grow in time. So think about, a lot of people, when they think about a reverse mortgage, they may have a lot of equity in their house, and they're like, I don't want to pull all my equity out. A lot of people just take enough off their mortgage, pay off credit cards, car loans, and then take a line of credit for later on in life.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're just allowing equity in your home to become liquid. It's gone from a non-liquid asset to a liquid asset, which is much safer for you.
It is. And the thing I like is nobody likes dealing with banks. Nobody likes applying for a loan. And so the nice thing is you go in, you apply for one once, you get a checkbook that says I have access to $100,000 or $200,000 of my own money. It's your money, it's your equity, and you don't have to ask anybody. Whenever you want to get money for whatever reason you want to buy a new car, you want to buy whatever it is that you want to do, the cash accessible to you.
People don't like loans. They don't want a mortgage. They want a house. They don't want a home. They don't want a car loan. They just want the car. And that's why people like you and I are in this, to make this so much nicer for people. Which reminds me that time is going by, and you should give any information you want about yourself or your company before we run out of time, because you have a great company that does great loans and does great reverse loans.
Yes, we do. And the unique thing about high-tech lending, and if you go to hightechhomeloans.com, hightechhomeloans.com, it has a website right there. We can give you interest rate quotes just right on the snap. We are a wholesale pretty much to the public. So if you go to hightechhomeloans.com, put in your scenario. There's no personal information required, and it can tell you what the current interest rates are today if you just like to just kind of put your feelers out there and see what the current interest rates are, which are absolutely amazing right now. So we're located in Irvine. We got offices all throughout California. We're in about 18 states, and the unique thing is we do both what we call forward loans, which are your good old standard FHA loans, conventional loans, and then we also do reverses based upon what's best for you.
Yeah, now, we say that we got a real hit because of the rates changing in the last couple of weeks that don't mirror the other rates in town. But it's not all doom and gloom. The problem is the loans, like I had said earlier, that are already in process. Overall, we're probably better than we were a year ago. So I mean, it's not like it's not like the sky is falling or the floor opened up.
You know, I think the interest rates have dropped. Like I think I measured. I think
The last couple of days, yeah, they've gotten gooder again.
Gooder.
Which is,
that's right.
Which is great.
So I think that what I'd like to say is don't push the panic button. Just
no.
Relax.
Just get the energy because we're going to be running soon.
That's right. And I tell you right now, it's just a matter of having some patience to allow the smart people in this country to do their thing. To get, I mean, I've been harboring in place. My kid's home from college. She's upstairs in her room, and so it's been a great time for me to share more time with my 19-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you know what? It is a thing where the world is changing, and people are learning that you can work from home, you can enjoy, you can communicate like what we're communicating right now. We even
can
have
visit
a
from
little
home.
cocktail party.
You can. I mean, I went to a Passover service last night, but on Zoom, and you know, we could have been doing these kind of things for years now, but we haven't been. And you know, don't use it as an excuse not to drive to a friend's house or something. But when you can't make it, you can still make it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think that one, as I mentioned, this is all a huge Band-Aid on what was a really big wound, and they're right now stitching it up. And then I would have to say that in short order, in a couple of months, the economy's going to.
Right. We got 1 minute
go out
left.
in a storm.
So I know the jumbos or the proprietary ones seem to be constricting, but they're starting to loosen too. There's a couple other investors out there. So, you know, I think we're still all good.
Yeah, and just real quick on the jumbo loans is that this is a proprietary product, so it's not the government-endorsed product, but it's really meant for the people that owe more than a couple $100,000. I'm doing loans right now for $2 million, a reverse mortgage for $2 million, paying off a $1 million loan and getting people $800,000 in cash or a line of credit. They're ecstatic.
I'm doing one for almost $2 million right now, and a friend of mine, Tom, he knows somebody that did one for $4 million on a $25 million home, so he could buy his 3 children a home. I tried to be one of those. I tried to convince him that he had 4 kids, but you know, one look at me and it didn't work. But we have to go. I hear that music, you know, that you hear at the Academy Awards that says you've talked too much, and they're going to pull the hook out. So that's what's happening. But really, I appreciate it. Don, we're going to talk real soon. I know. I hope. Have a great and safe rest of the week.
Empecé en pequeña rample